Hello, everybody. John Thomas, Fire Inspection Services LLC, with our July podcast. Today, we're going to talk about mobile food vendors and how to do inspections. Fire Inspection Services LLC has been dealing with mobile vendors since 2015 when we introduced an ordinance. One of the first ordinance here in the state of New Jersey, with the municipality we were working for at the time, to do inspections in a permit process for our mobile food vendors. It's been very successful. We also sat on the task force for NFPA. You'll see what the end result was on that with the checkoff sheet that they sent out. One of the main reasons why we did all this is because of the incidents of mobile food vendors over the years. We've been asking NFPA for years to get a set standard for mobile vendors and how they're built and everything. So we're going to talk about that. My friend John Halpern was the president and founder of the Jersey Food Truck Association. Fortunately, John passed away in 2022. He was a big advocate on mobile vendors. I actually own two of his own. That's how I first met John. We worked very hard since 2015, and you can see there was an article in the Herald News quoting some of the things that we did on mobile food vendors. And one of the biggest things was most of the members of the association wanted us. They wanted some kind of standard. They wanted our help to keep them safe. And we talk about fire prevention and what fire prevention is supposed to do. Our job is always to help our clients out, help them out. We field about 5 to 10 phone calls a month on questions on mobile food vendors from operators, owners, fire prevention officers, fire marshals that call us and ask us our advice. So we've been dealing with this stuff since 2015. One of the last times I saw John was we did a safety course for the New Jersey Food Truck Association at John's restaurant. It was very successful. We saw that a lot of things that we were teaching over the years, the fire marshals out there were doing. They're actually doing the due diligence on getting inspections done. And that's what we wanted to see. So one of the things that we said is John, we won, brother. We did. We got their truck safe. Where are you going to find them? Locations, everything. You'll find them near schools, industrial parks, office complexes, the parks. Now the biggest things are these festivals. You'll find 20, 30 of these vehicles parked. Since there's really no set standard on these, some of these things that we recommend that every fire marshal's office and every owner has is the NFP standard 1192, which is recreational vehicles. It tells you how to build these things. 1196, which you all know about commercial kitchen cooking, and NFPA 58, which talks about liquid petroleum gases, propane. Out of the task force, we came up with this nice check sheet. The check sheet we issue with every permit. It's a good training tool for your inspectors. Go over it. It shows you distances. It shows generators. A nice thing to take a look at. A good thing for them to have. This is the back side of the sheet. The form is available on the NFPA website, also on Fire Inspection Services LLC's website, which you'll see at the end. If not, just email us. We'll send you a copy of it or the link to NFPA, one of the two. What do we do in fire prevention? Well, our job in fire prevention is to check, educate these food vendors, educate our first responders about these food vendors. Remember, these food vendors have propane on board. They're rolling bombs. So you let our first responders know what to do on these things. Be due diligent on your inspections. Make sure that before you issue that permit, there are no issues with that vehicle. See a problem, notify the owner, and try to come up with a solution. To try to rectify the problem. Excuse me. Here's the incident in Philadelphia where the food vendor was parked on the street, actually half a block away from a police precinct. The owner and her daughter were killed. And during the full day course, we teach a full 6-hour safety course, inspection course on mobile food vendors. We also have a shorter version for just inspectors. We show this video, and you can see that the propane literally shoots out of the vehicle before the explosion. How can we have prevented this from happening? Well, the owner could be doing a daily check for propane leaks. Have a propane leak detector in the vehicle. Will alert you of a propane leak. Regular inspections. Go in there with meters. Just don't go in there with the paper in your hand and the clipboard. Go in there with the meters. Check. Educate the operator. Make sure the piping is the correct. It's not the flexible half-inch or quarter-inch pressure fitting. Is gas pipe. Schedule 40. You'll see in 1192 says that it's Schedule 40 gas pipe. This one kept on hitting on my radar every time we did anything. An explosion of a large trail down in Metro-Dade, Florida. We actually contacted the fire marshals down there. They were kind enough to send us the report and a bunch of photos. And I asked them, I want to read the report. They said that the company officer checked the propane cylinder, which was found on the front lawn of the owner. It was off. So how did this blow up? How? Very simple. When the operator was done for the day, they turned the stoves and everything off and then turned off the propane. So that left residual gas in a very large trailer. Apparently there was a leak in it. When he got home, he plugged the trailer in, boom, it blew up. Damaged not just his truck, his home, but his neighbor's houses, and it left a very large debris field. When the operator's done with the vent, tell them to turn the propane cylinder off first. Let the residual gas burn off, then turn off the stoves, the fryers, and whatever else they have in there that's on the propane. Cylinder off first. How could this have been prevented? Again, educating the operator, conducting inspections on the trailer, checking the propane to make sure that it wasn't leaking, and conducting your normal inspections. Here's one that we took a photo of. The grease is just caked. This, first of all, it's caked on there. Second of all, it's not the proper fan for a vent system. It had opening in the back, so the grease is getting into the openings, into the windings in the operations of the motor. Could start a fire. This one, at least the operator had a hood suppression system in there, but again, you can see the openings on the motors, not the proper motor for a vent fan. This one, if you look at the top of the truck, just by the flag, you can see that a lot of cake and everything. A lot of grease was caked on there, and that's not something that happened just overnight. This was going on for a while. Advise the operator, he's got to get up on there. He's got to clean that vent hood down. They got to clean everything under there, and clean the side of the truck. Closer view, you can see that the grease is just caked on there. What are the problems that we see here? Now, this is an inspection. They had the proper signage on the outside, which are one of the biggest things we said during the task force. The signage showed the first responders knew where the propane was. The thing we hear is the propane cylinders are not secured properly. They're in milk crates, so they're bouncing around the back of this truck. The other thing is that they have the pressure fitting gas pipe. That's not what you need. That's all it is a flange pressured into the pipe. It's going to move. I have not found one yet that we've done inspections on that has not been leaking. That's a closer look at what it is. Again, all it is the copper pipe is flanged on the end. It sits on a adapter, and it moves. The pipe is constantly moving when the vehicle's en route. This is what it should be. Schedule 40 or gas pipe with 4 to 6 feet, which is allowable, of flexible pipe, commercial grade, not something that you buy at Lowe's or Home Depot. This is commercial grade. Remember, these vehicles are always moving. At least with the commercial grade, you got a better chance of it not cracking or breaking. You'll also notice that it's black pipe. It's normal gas pipe. And again, if you look in 1192, that's what it's recommended. This vehicle we spotted, we stopped, we talked to the owner. Told him really nice job on the way he set it up. Looks good. Cylinders are not exposed totally. They are being protected. The only thing that we had a problem with that when we were talking to him was, if you look closely, all of his piping, all of the hoses and everything going to propane is still exposed. He's exposed to the weather. During the summer, the sun's beating down and drying these things out. During the winter, sand, rock salt, the weather's beating down on it. And after a while, they're going to dry out. You may not know they're leaking until it's too late. We used to call this a New York City lock. All it is a piece of L bracket. Drop down. It's not holding the cylinders in properly. 1192 will explain brackets, proper bracketing for propane cylinders. When we conducted the inspection on this truck came in from North Carolina to New Jersey. We asked them to pull the 60-pounder out, and that's what we saw. We told them, no good. We actually were so worried about it, we offloaded that cylinder. We called for an engine company to come down and stand by. We offloaded the cylinder properly and told them we had to get another one. And we were just too worried that something was going to happen to it. Smoke detectors, during the cooking operation, they can be turned off. But when we're in transit, they should be on, because they're not watching what's going on. If it's a trailer, something could happen. It may be too late by the time they're notified of it. Work with the manufacturer specs as far as changing the batteries and everything else with those. CO detectors, we find that they have to be on during operation. That the generators are not venting properly, or the at some of these festivals, that the generators from other vehicles are actually leaking into the area, the other trucks and other trailers. We find that happening a lot, depending on where the trailer is being or truck is being set. Gas leak detectors should be in every vehicle. Worst case scenario, it'll pick up a minor leak before an issue. Remember, when you're doing these inspections, have them turn everything on except for the fans. Close the doors, close the windows, and go in there with your meters. You'll find that a lot of these propane are leaking. The hoses are leaking inside the vehicles. With the gas leak detector, it will pick it up. It'll tell the operator that you have a problem, and they need to rectify that. And soapy water mix, handheld detectors, they should be checking these before they leave the yard. Solar panels, a new thing that we've been seeing. The first one that we actually did an inspection on was a homemade system that was built. All the components are there except for one thing: emergency shutoff. There was no emergency shutoff for this system. It had all the components, all the switches, and everything else. And we all know from the training that we've done on solar panels, everything is hot to the breakers. So where was the emergency shutoff? This shows you the inverter and the battery storage cylinders and everything else that was on board. This one was actually built for the solar panels and system was built on the vehicle. It wasn't custom built. It's part of the vehicle. The only thing that we asked, and this is a storage room area for all the components. The only thing we asked them to do was label it, so we knew what was in there. Everything's very nicely put in, installed properly. The inverters, everything's all there nice and tight. Again, it's not mobile food trucks. It's mobile food vendors. You'll see that this gentleman has, I don't even know what you want to call it. He would go to all the train stations in town and serve coffee in the morning. Again, he had the 1/4-inch pressure fitting pipe and it was leaking. The only thing that saved it from not blowing up was just because it was all exposed. The doors open, that propane's coming out. All you needed was to get inside that vehicle, something ignited, and it would have been all over with. The other problem that we had was where he stored his propane cylinder. It wasn't secured. I asked him, what do you do when you're done with the end of the day? He said, well, I just turn it off and put it in the back. So it's bouncing around in the back of this cart. So let's talk about catering trucks. Let's walk around inspections. Man, they have propane. These trucks are built for not cooking operation, but keeping things hot. Normal food vendor, again, note the license plates and the VIN numbers. The back of the truck, that's where his warming trays are all, is all set up for him. His coffee urns are here. And basically, he was doing hot water from that backside of it. The warming trays are all set up. On this side, which was the driver's side, his coffee urns, storage. Again, noting the license plate, company name and phone number, which again is all on the forms. This is the passenger side, which had all of the packaged foods. And also you can see on the lower right side is where the propane cylinder was. Now, with NFPA, we asked him for a definite size. He at least labeled the compartment door where the propane was. That's the propane cylinder. The belly tank. The other thing that was a problem was I'm seeing a lot of rust on there. He didn't know when the last time the hydrostatic test date was done. He's new to the truck. He just received it about a year previous to us doing the inspections. He came into town and was hitting all our construction sites and never filed for permit. Didn't know that we had a permit process. A lot of towns are doing that now. When we went in the back and we put our meters to it, we found that he had 20 parts per million. He had a propane leak. He explained to us that he was rear-ended a couple of days ago. Told him, you got a leak somewhere. We're not issuing a permit until the propane leak has been resolved. Came back, we did another recheck. Everything was working fine. Again, we say this guy's truck. It comes down to it. May not blow up today, it may not blow up tomorrow, but it's going to have a problem at one point. This is a converted teardrop trailer. Did a really nice job on it. Again, basically serving coffee. Inside is mostly storage. Labeling on the outside. Rear kitchen area. This is what I liked about it is again, it's built for a trailer. That's the area with the propane and the battery. The only thing we asked her to do was to label propane so we knew where it was. That's the proper propane cylinder bracket. Doesn't move. So that rubber hose is not bouncing around. It's not exposed to the weather. Everything was secured nicely. Battery was secured nicely. And it was a pretty good operation. This gentleman came to town. We conducted an inspection for him. They do Belgian waffles. Apparently, the company has a number of these trailers that are pulled by vans. Once he got there, we started doing inspection. First thing we did was put the CL meter in there and immediately went an alarm. The generator was stored in the back. It had a vent, but it wasn't venting enough. A lot of the CL was going into the operating compartment. Went there with our propane leak detector, and right where the arrow is, we found a manifold, and there was a major propane leak. So we told them to shut the system down. The venue that we was operating at was nice enough to bring an extension cord. He was using electric irons to make their Belgian waffles. He said the coffee's already hot, so we didn't have to worry about that one. So we issued the permit, but limited, and we stood by the whole time. Only thing that saved this gentleman from operating, he was operating in Central Park all day. And he said he did smell propane. He said, why did you continue operating then? Why didn't you check to see what the problem was? Only thing that saved him was that large operating window. That's what kept the explosive levels low. If they would have bottled that up, or if they were in transit and they didn't turn that propane off, it would have been leaking in the back of that trailer and it would have went up. So let's do a real quick walk around. This is what we call the California style truck. It was custom built to be a food truck. That's what it comes down to. So on a walk around, we noticed that where the propane cylinder was, there was no markings. The other thing that we looked at, where the extension cord was plugged in. Now let's take a closer look. I don't care about the extension cords as long as they're, they're not a trip factor. They're gonna have them around. This truck was at a movie shoot, so they were cooking and operating for about 30 to 60 people. That's what bothered me. There was no weather cover. There was nothing to protect the roll grimes and everything else to getting inside of that outlet. We recommended you contact an electrician and have it boxed in properly. Again, no signage. The brackets are broken. The propane cylinders are bouncing around in there. Those rubber hoses are constantly flexing. It's going to leak at one point. Noting the license plate and the VIN number. Where's the generator? In that compartment, and the exhaust was underneath. And the problem we have with this was is when we put our CO detector in the vehicle, that open port window, you can see that there's the muffler. The open port window, all this, the exhaust was going in there. So how do we rectify this problem? Cover it up wasn't a suggestion because they needed to use it to vent the heat and everything out. So our recommendation was, is how are we going to do this? We opened up the door for the generator and kept it open. That deflected the exhaust from the pipe. And we kept the fan on and kept the CO levels low. Got down to 0. We were happy. We're going to let them operate. Talked to a lot of the manufacturers. The pilots on a lot of the stoves constantly go out. They've tried a number of ways of trying to block it. Again, our meters picked it up. Got a propane leak in the vehicle. Told them to relight it. We checked it again, and there was no leak. If it's in the vehicle, just like, and if it was restaurant, and if it's there, it has to be operational. We told him he's got to fix that problem. The pilot was disconnected, so we weren't too worried about propane leaks. Again, we kept on checking. Checked the coffee urn, everything was good. Checked the back on the flat top and the warming areas, everything was good. So let's talk about awnings. We're finding a lot of mobile food vendors are getting away from the material awnings and using metal. If there are materials awnings, you'll see that when we do the full course. We show you a video in Milwaukee where a food truck was on fire, and the awning went right up. A lot of them using metal. It helps them 2 ways. It covers their serving area once they're done with the day, and it secures the truck. Gas leak, propane leak detectors are imperative to be in there. This one has different probes to different areas of the vehicle and alert the owner if there's a problem. The problem we had with this one is we had the smoke detector up there. We told them you could disconnect it when operation. If you look at the electrical panel, it had an open port. And this was not that far from their fryers. Told them that's got to be covered with the door, and the open port's got to be covered properly. Generators, you've got to do inspections on it. This gentleman had explained to us that he had just had the generator serviced. What is all that oil and gas doing there now? No go, was not allowed to operate. What's behind the door? A large generator. This generator is powering up the entire vehicle. It's a diesel run Suzuki engine that's running this generator. And with everything else, we find extension cord. The extension cord was being used for permanent wiring. No good. No good. How to get rid of the extension cord? Put an outlet in there. Back to the oil. Oil is in there. No good. You got a leak somewhere. If you just had it serviced, then why is it leaked? Ultimately, these gentlemen actually pulled the whole system out and put a portable generator in there. You'll find the generators mounted in the front of the vehicles on brackets. That's fine. The only thing is have them remove every combustible off of it. Get rid of the tarp. The extension cord actually went down and underneath the truck. This generator was actually caged in because the first one he had got stolen. So we caged him in. Again, the extension cords are underneath the vehicle. Another ice cream truck. This thing is huge. This generator is huge. You could probably power up a firehouse with it. This is what it was pulling up. They were making ice cream in the back of this truck, which is fine. Check the generators. This one we were actually called by a fire marshal, a different town, to get him a hand. We went up and did an inspection. The only thing holding this generator in place is a bungee cord. We didn't like the way it was sitting next to the propane cylinders. It's just way too close. We came up with a solution. They moved the generator, made it portable, and we allowed it to operate for the day. This setup was really good. It's got the proper propane cylinder lockdown. The only thing I didn't like about it was it's exposed. All the piping is exposed to the weather. It's got to get boxed in so it's not being exposed. The sun's beating down on these things, and it's just drying them out quicker. Again, proper locks. The brackets are the only thing that was wrong with it. Again, was the hoses that were exposed. Heading up to Connecticut, and I saw this, and I said, I gotta snap a photo of this one. That's a rolling bomb. He's got 3 80-pound cylinders, and all the hoses and everything are exposed. Solid fuels, we're coming up with suggestions on different solid fuels. Watch where they store it. Okay. Watch where they store a lot of this, the extra stuff they have there. You can see that on this one, that is stored in the same area where the oven is. Even though the ovens are not getting hot, but if something pops off, or spark gets into that solid fuel, into that wood, you could have an issue. They're making mobile food vendors are now in fire trucks. Here's the looking on the inside of one. Again, there's not a lot of room inside of these vehicles. This is a trailer. There's only one way out of it. That's the reason why we're going to make this set. How old are mobile food vendors? I mean, they're dating back years and years and years. It's nothing new. It just became a big thing in the last few years because of the way the economy was. This gentleman took an old bobtail oil truck and converted it into a food truck. Great idea. The only problem we don't have on this one is we don't see a suppression system. I know he's producing grease light and vapors. Where's the suppression system? Take a look, and they got fire trucks. This is a little unique, where the food and everything is the way it's being served. This gentleman, his food just out of this world. The shuttle, people. The shuttle. Great concept, though. They come in everything. Double-decker trucks. John Deere actually makes a smoke trailer. The only thing, again, I don't like is the propane cylinder hoses that are exposed. Horse trailers, they putting ovens in them. Peanuts, the outsider. Great guy, met him, did inspection on his camper. Again, had a leak. The CO was leaking into the camper. Found out that the muffler was folded over. Made a recommendation. He goes and has the muffler extended up above the top of the truck. This person said that the food was just to die for. I know, no joke. The coffin's a cooking area. Now, do they really need a suppression system? Yeah, it's how you want the operation. I haven't seen this. It was a photo that was sent to me. Mobile food vendor on the water. I don't even know who's got jurisdiction over it. Somebody's got to inspect this thing. So this was a unique, a great idea. Back of an old ambulance. Love the concept. Everything looked pretty good. Nice serving area. Great job on the inside. This is what they'll look like in the future. We don't know. Now, sorry guys. Let's look at some of the problems we've seen over the years. The first one you're going to see is we're actually off that day, and we had a flea market. We saw this gentleman operating. We had talked to him. We asked him if it was okay that we take photos of him, and he asked us why. Told him what we were doing, that we teach a safety course on this. He goes, well, what's wrong with my trailer? I said, well, first thing is you got a number of things that are wrong. No hood suppression system. You have your combustibles above your stove. You're making sausage. Could start up between the oils and everything else. The fryers, no protection at all. That's what the propane is. Not. I asked him, please do me a favor. Put it at least in a milk crate. There's nothing. If something happens at a fryer, oil spills over, the propane cylinder's going up. The generator was operating with the fuel tank right next to it. No good. This one, the propane cylinder, 100-pound cylinder is being held in by a bungee cord, not the proper lock. The smaller cylinder, not being held in by anything at all. No good. Got to be secured. This one we did an inspection. They came out of New York for a movie shoot. When I saw the truck, I was like, this is gonna be all bad. Things sitting low to the ground. The propane cylinders are in a crate. Apparently the door got hit at one point and can't hold the cylinders anymore. No good. Yeah, everybody may say, well, you know what? It's good for the operation. We let them operate for the day. We told them it's got to be secure properly. Then we walked on the inside. That's when our final decision was he's not operating at all. Homemade stove. Look closely, people. This was homemade. They just screwed a bunch of burners together. The thing that really bothered me the most was that using a rubber hose to connect everything. And the rubber hose is kinked, no less. Shut it down, told me could not operate. This photo was sent to us by another company that did inspections. Propane cylinder marked out real nice. They went and checked it. When they went to open the door was hot from the heat from the compressor of the air conditioner. Not really good. These photos were sent to my friend of mine down in Franklin Township, New Jersey. This was a food truck, a food trailer that was parked inside of a greenhouse. This is how they vented it. They just took a vent. I don't even know what you want to call it. And vented it outside. It was parked inside of a greenhouse. Now, I'm a city boy. I'm operating this city for many years. That's all plastic around there. If something would have had that food trailer, that whole thing would have went up. This is how they vented it. They cut a few pieces of diamond plate and put it over the top. Propane cylinders are not being secured. They're just bouncing around outside. I just don't know what you want to say. We did come up with a solution. They did bring it outside and built a structure for them to work in. Again, the fryers, propane cylinder sitting next to it. This was an inspection that we did. And look on the inside. I'm sorry. Let me back up. That's not the proper fan, and it's right above the flat top stove. So if something's gonna happen, it's gonna go right out. The flame's gonna go right out. One thing that they did have is they had a suppression system. Let's talk about the food truck rallies or mobile food vendor festivals. Look at the way these things are set up. They're too close to each other. One vehicle on the problem, they're all going to start going up. Way too close. Separate them. This is all got to be planned ahead of time. It can't be off the cuff. It's got to be planned ahead of time. And we've helped a lot of municipalities set their mobile food rallies up. We don't mind that. That's what we do. This is the way to set it up. It's an overshot. This is the way to set them up. You have 8 to 10 feet distance between vehicles. You have enough room where first responders can make access. It's a matter of just moving the tables. If it is a trailer and you don't have the space, drop the trailer and make sure that the wheels are chocked and everything is secured. In the full course, we talk about food rallies, what to do, how to set them up, what to do when they're ready to shut down. Do post inspections before the vehicles leave. All set up for it. So to finish this off, you can contact us at Fire Inspector Services at Outlook. We have a full accredited course through the state of New Jersey and the state of Virginia. We're trying to get the other states to certify the course. Just let us know. We'll get the paperwork pushed through. Look at our website, fireinspectorservicesllc.com. A lot of information. Or just call the office, leave a message. A lot of times we're busy or leave a message. We will get back to you. Okay? So the only thing I can say, guys, is be diligent on your inspections. Be safe out there. Have a great summer. Our next podcast, we're going to try to do the transit bus safety equipment. You all be safe now. Take care.